I'm going to be in the environment that I want to be in. And then if coaching comes up, then awesome. This is great.
Yeah.
That's why I start with the sports analogies or sports talk, because like I'm going to coach in the environment I want to be in. And so then that translates into real estate where I want to work with people that I want to be around.
I think your money's where your mouth is. I've seen you do this. And so this is one of the reasons I think you're so great at what you do, is because you do put people first. And I think in this business, when we only get paid when we close, it's really easy to see those dollar signs and be like, oh, let's force this one through somehow. But that's maybe not in anyone's best interest.
Yeah, I guess my encouragement to myself and to anybody else is like, instead of our hard and fast and firm ideas about what we want life to look like, we gotta hold it loosely, because ultimately the Lord has everything in his control, and his plans are certainly better than mine.
Hey friends, welcome back to More Than a Mortgage. I'm your host, Gavin Sessions. This is a podcast where we have the opportunity to share stories of folks that are connected to our industry. I'm a mortgage broker. Shaun De Yager is here with us today. He's a personal friend of mine. He's a real estate agent. He's very, very good at his job. He's been a guy I've been pursuing for probably about 6 months to come join us on this show. He's got an awesome story. I, of course, have heard it. I think we've probably had hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 conversations over the years. And so this is just yet the latest conversation we're going to have, and we're doing it today here in the podcast studio. But Shaun's been elusive with joining us just because he keeps a very busy schedule, both personally and professionally. But Shaun, super thrilled, and I mean that with all sincerity, that you took the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Such a close friend, and I just admire you, and you've got a great story that I think the world needs to hear. So appreciate you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. It was nice of us to match today.
I didn't think about it.
It's okay. We didn't call each other ahead of time. You've got purple on because you said
it was Go Dogs.
Go Dogs, yeah. And I wore a Husky hat today.
So here we are.
So there's a little bit of Seattle roots here between the two of us, of course.
For sure.
But before we get into any of that, and we'll have to be a little bit careful here, because we could sidebar and we could rabbit trail down all sorts of different paths. But let's start with a quick icebreaker. It's one I've asked a few people. Okay. I think it's a good way to get going. If you could do anything other than work today, right? Because technically what we're doing right now is we're working, which is, This is cool, right? I mean, if you're going to work, might as well do something that you enjoy.
Yeah. No, I think my wife does consider some of my things not work, but it all is.
Yeah. We often call things work.
I got to call Gavin. It's work.
There you go. Work related. All right. So if you could do anything today other than work, if you weren't sitting here in the studio recording this conversation with me, and you didn't have responsibilities necessarily with your wife or your kids, or maybe that is going to be your answer, what would you spend your time doing today?
Ooh, tough one. Yeah. I mean, I think obviously spending time with the family is super important, and been able to, thankfully, being in this line of work, been able to do a lot of different things, which is fun. But yeah, I enjoy going to Topgolf and hanging out with people. Really enjoy coaching basketball. I've been coaching my 5th grade son, and then this year I was able to coach some 7th and 8th graders over at Coal Valley Christian. That was super awesome. So starting that up again, hopefully tomorrow, and just have a big passion for working with kids and being around the game.
Love it.
Yeah.
Not surprised you said that. I mean, we've had conversations recently kind of where we've talked about, hey, if it wasn't real estate, what would you spend your time doing?
Yeah.
And I think, I don't want to answer it for you, but I think you've got a dream about basketball, right? Of some sort.
Yeah, thoroughly. I grew up in the gym. My dad was a high school basketball coach for, 40 years. I mean, from very early on, my fondest memories are going to the state tournament back in Washington. I don't know.
Tacoma Dome?
No, we went to Spokane because we were small school.
That's right.
Shoreline Christian was where he coached, so we were the B level, so that was over in Spokane at the arena there. Yep. So those are my fond memories. And then being at practice after school as an elementary kid, I remember crying if my mom said I couldn't go to practice. Those are super valuable. And then out of high school, I played through high school, and then out of high school, I started just coaching with my dad, being an assistant there, and just absolutely loved being around, loved being able to just help people out. And so ended up getting into education, becoming a PE teacher elementary PE teacher, and coaching alongside for, I don't know, a lot of years as an assistant as a head coach, back in Washington, Seattle Christian. And, just that I ran summer leagues. I ran tournaments. I took kids to tournaments. Like that was always a big passion of mine. And so moving here to Idaho took a decade off, I guess, from coaching, but we had a bunch of young kids, and was able to get back into it the last couple of years with my fourth, I guess he was fourth grade at the time, but fifth grade son. And and kind of just keeps evolving into what the Lord's bringing to my plate in terms of what I get to do and who I get to help.
Love it. So basketball, coaching, teaching, those are all things in your history. They're all things that are passions for you.
Yeah.
I think they're all things that actually probably make you a really good real estate agent, to be honest. But before we get into that, we're sitting here today in Boise, Idaho, and somehow we both were born and raised in Washington, and yet here we are recording a podcast years and years later. So before we gloss over all of the history, because I think the history matters, I think it's a way we can give honor to our story is by telling it, right? And then I think looking backwards at that story has massive impact on who we are today. So we can be as exhaustive as you want. We've got all the time in the world, but would love to kind of hear a little bit of your story, where you grew up, and then ultimately how you ended up here in Boise. And so you can start back as far as you like, but I'll kind of tease us and just say you and I met after both being born and raised in the Seattle area, but we didn't meet until we moved here.
Correct. Yeah.
And we met because our daughters, well, my daughter wouldn't have been your daughter. Our kids had a mutual friend.
Yeah.
And we met at Gruber Park in Eagle, Idaho from Matt Whitehead, a going away party.
Yep.
So,
because we knew Matt and Jesse from back in Seattle. I coached volleyball with Jesse for a few years. And I mean, they of course went to Seattle Christian. So, and Courtney, my wife, went to Seattle Christian. There was some connection there as well.
Yeah.
Matt's dad was the Bible teacher at the school.
Yeah. Crazy. So we had a lot of overlap that we didn't even know.
Yep.
We knew a lot of mutual people. We might've been in the same basketball gyms on occasion over the years, which is super crazy. But then we didn't meet until,
Well, we also went to the same college.
Correct.
And we overlapped by a year, but never met.
Didn't know each other there.
Yeah.
Right. So anyhow, kudos to Matt and the Whitehead family for getting us connected.
Yeah.
You were recently into real estate. I was recently into mortgage. It was kind of a bit of a match made in heaven. And we've kind of been a fast friendship really since then. I think that was probably about almost 8 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, kind of funny, but I remember Matt saying like, hey, he used to work at Microsoft. And I'm like, I'm not going to be friends with this guy. We got no connection. And I think we grabbed a beer or grabbed a Coke or something shortly after. And it was like,
It wasn't a coffee. You don't like coffee?
I don't like coffee. No. I'm one of the weird ones from Seattle that doesn't, but yeah. And I remember like, I mean, that was a really good time and kind of like started the ball down of like the small world stuff that we have going on. And then quickly into, a shared faith, obviously, and kids similar age. There was a lot of similarities. So.
Yeah. We'll say it now. I think it's in this business. I've said this before on this podcast. We get to choose who we want our partners to be. And I think it's really fun when we get to choose people that are like-minded. We have things in common with, we have common faith.
Yeah.
And so I just think relationships obviously work so much better when there are those things in common, if that makes sense.
For sure.
So we're not going to be a great fit for everybody. There's the old 25% rule that 25% of people are going to be for you and like you, or for me and like me. And then 25% of people we're just not going to jive with them, right? And then the other 50% in theory will be indifferent to us, right? So theoretically, 75% of people out there in the world are going to be at best indifferent to us, which means, hey, let's choose our partners and our friends wisely ideally in that 25% kind of quadrant. But anyway, we've already pivoted away. Would love to hear a little bit of your story. If you want to delve into that at all, would love to kind of hear where you grew up, how you grew up, and how you ended up here in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah. Let's see here. I grew up North Seattle area, Lake Forest Park.
Yeah.
And from the time, I guess it was North Seattle from the time I was 2. And grew up going to the school's called Watson Green Christian. My dad was a high school teacher there and a basketball coach, like I said. Went there preschool through 12th grade, ended up at Northwest University. Now it was college back then.
Yep.
And had a good time there. My college years, I volunteered in youth ministry. I helped my dad coach. Like there was a lot of...
Did you grow up Assemblies of God?
Okay, so this was interesting. So we grew up so my parents came from the Midwest, and in the Midwest, the Christian Reformed Church is a big thing, big deal. So we grew up Christian Reformed, and at my 7th grade year, my parents hard pivoted to Assemblies of God.
Okay.
So that was an interesting...
Because Northwest is very Assemblies of God heavy, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, from 7th grade on, I went to... I don't think they're necessarily affiliated with the Assemblies of God, but more charismatic like that. So.
Yeah. Got it. So then that would have been the connection to Northwest?
Yeah, and local Christian school, smaller.
Yeah.
Growing up in a very small Christian school, that was the only environment I knew. Didn't really have aspirations of being at a huge school.
You weren't trying to go to UW?
No, even though I loved all their sports and still do. But yeah. So that was I have 3 siblings, and out of college, ended up accepting a teaching job at Seattle Christian School. And even before I got the job, the head coach there knew of me because of my dad, and he threw me a pair of shorts and said, "Hey, you're coaching with me." And I'm like, "Well, I don't even have the job." So I ended up assisting him for 4 years before he left, and then took over for him for 7. But that was Seattle Christian was very formative for my early adult years, and teaching kids and coaching kids, and super passionate about it. And being involved in athletics, and being able to be the cool teacher, and but also be able to push kids to different levels that they didn't think they could through that. And
So graduated from Northwest.
Correct.
Teaching degree?
Teaching degree, yep. Secondary education teaching degree, but got a elementary. Okay. Because it was a K-12 cert.
And went to Northwest for a specific program, or because it was a small Christian school in the area and that was the environment you felt drawn to, comfortable with, based upon the way you were
that was
brought up?
that was mostly it. And it was 20 minutes from home. So I actually lived at home and commuted. And then I was able to volunteer at the youth ministries that I had been a part of, that I grew up in, at the Christian Reformed Church. So we went to Westgate Chapel in Edmonds, Washington. Yeah. But I went to the youth ministries of the Christian Reformed Church because I was still connected with youth pastors there. And then even after college, then I volunteered with them. Got it. But so Northwest, I pivoted. At first I thought, maybe I'm going to get into some music education. First year, did well.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Did they not require you to live on campus the first year? Is it because you were living at home?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think that was a rule, right? It was either...
I'm not sure. The hindsight of it is, I probably could have had more fun living on campus than living at home, but here we are.
Much more affordable.
I was kind of I'm saving, I don't have money, a lot of money. My dad was a Christian school teacher. So they helped where they could. And so it saved money and comfort zone, and it's a lot of things, but
expensive private school. I did not live at home. I went there as a freshman, lived on campus. I think it was required. You either had to live on campus or live at home. I don't think there was a different option.
I think as freshmen, sophomores, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it ended up not being a good fit for me. Of course, that's part of the story I've told in the past, but obviously was a good fit for you, and you stuck with it all the way through.
Yeah. I think part of it too, maybe, is that I was there and not there. I could go back. I can go into the world that I wanted to be in.
Correct.
Which was working with kids and
not so immersed.
Yeah. So I pivoted from, I did some music classes. That wasn't my second year. I did some youth ministry classes thinking I'm not good enough to be a pastor, and which we all know is not the right thing to think or say, but and then my third year, they added the PE degree, which they didn't have before. And my advisor came up to me, she said, "This is a perfect fit for you." And I'm like, you know what? You're right. So I ended up getting into that, and super thankful I did. Loved it.
Speaking of Northwest, I was talking to a couple of past clients of mine who are friends. One of them played soccer, likely when you were there, because he played soccer when I was there. A guy named Trevor Hawley. Was talking to him just a couple weeks ago. And then my good buddy Josh Lilly, he did not attend Northwest, but his son. So Trevor and Josh are brothers-in-law because of the way that marriages worked and things. But they both have sons that are playing soccer at Northwest currently.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Small world.
That's cool. When I had some of the high schoolers that I coached when ended up at playing soccer at Northwest.
Yeah.
It's cool. At least 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor was, I think still is a soccer nut. Like, and so for him to have his oldest son follow in his
really cool.
footsteps and also play collegiate soccer at the exact same school, like that is really pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
So, okay. So Northwest graduated and then immediately pivoted into a role at a teaching position at Seattle Christian.
For the most part. Yeah. Yep.
And then ended up as a basketball coach for about 11 years is what it sounds like.
Yeah. So I helped my dad like 4 years. I took a year off and moved to Arizona for a year and took a year off from college, everything, and then came back to finish. So I helped my dad, I think 4 or 5 total years. And then I was an assistant for the boys varsity at Seattle Christian for 4 years and then became the head coach for 7 years.
Okay. So maybe 8, 7, more like 15 then.
Yeah.
A lot of years worth of coaching.
Yep. Yeah. And in between, like early on, I did some 5th and 6th stuff. I did a little help with middle school. I helped another at Shoreline Christian with the boys team for a year. Like I just kind of, wherever people needed some help and I had time, it was awesome. Wasn't married.
Wasn't married yet.
Not yet.
So how did you end up meeting Courtney?
That was because of the connection at Seattle Christian. So her brother was on the basketball team.
Okay.
And I actually taught her youngest sister in PE. So,
oh, how funny.
Yeah. So
she's a little bit younger than you and her siblings would have been even younger than her.
Correct. Yeah. She's the oldest. I'm the oldest. And,
okay.
So we ended up meeting, at a summer basketball tournament. She needed a ride home. I was going home early. And so
she jumped in your car,
jumped in my car and
that's
talked for 2 hours.
Creepy.
A little bit. Yeah. But I knew her parents and I knew her siblings. So yeah.
So it wasn't, you weren't a total stranger.
Correct. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So she didn't make a bad choice.
I mean, her dad would say like, I was a little leery of that situation, but it worked out. The Lord knew.
And her parents are obviously, they followed you guys over here, right?
Or So how we got here, my brother-in-law, her youngest sister who I taught in elementary PE, married a guy who grew up here, went to Coal Valley.
Riley
Wiedmeyer. Yep. Yeah. And so his family grew up around here. He grew up around here. And one day, this was like 2016 maybe, he was like, they were living in Washington close by. And he was like, you guys would love Boise. I'm like, nah, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, never been.
And most of us that grew up in Seattle never had been.
I knew where Coeur Lane was because I drove I-90 out to Iowa every summer to visit my relatives. But,
right. But that's a different part of the state.
Yeah. And you close your eyes and you're through it, right? Yeah. That part of the panhandle there. So he brought it up. He told my wife, and my wife started looking at housing, and she's like, housing is so cheap over there. We got to move there. And I was like, no. And I kind of held off for a year. And then the Lord, I would say the Lord was prompting me and working in my heart. And I remember very, very clearly, not audibly, but very clearly that the Lord was saying, hey, it's time. You're going to move. And so we both actually quit our jobs and did not have another job lined up and decided to move here. I'd never visited. And I remember, so like the real estate, this is how I kind of got into real estate, or how I did. My grandpas in the Midwest were both realtors for decades. Worked in Minnesota, Iowa, South Dakota. And one was like farm and ranch and auctioneer. And then the other was like, he did residential, but then got into high rises and condominiums and all that kind of stuff, more commercial. But I was always fascinated by it. And my siblings, even my sister, who's 2 years younger, actually the same age as you, she was always like, you'd be so good at this job. And I was like, how can I do that? Like I'm working here and I'm trying to just make ends meet as a teacher and coach. And I was selling sports uniforms and Cloud9 Sports. And, they no longer exist. They sold out earlier this year. But so for 20 years, I sold part-time for them just because I always did it.
Kind of like in ministry, you got to have a side hustle, right?
Yeah. I had to. And so for years it was like it was like I made half my money from teaching, half my money from that. And even then it was like, we've got to get out of King County. It just wasn't, it financially just wasn't working. So,
Yeah.
but the Lord provided all that we ever needed. So I can't complain by any means. So yeah, but I remember laying in bed one day, like kind of mad, like, why are you asking me to move to Boise? Like teachers are paid even less there. Like, how can I carry my family and provide? And it popped back into my head. And I remember leaving there. And I don't know when I told my wife, but I'm like, hey, I'm going to get into real estate. She's like, yeah, it's a good idea. Okay, here we go. And so, and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law had moved back here.
Was that always the plan for Riley to get?
No, he came back. I don't know if you remember this, like his mom was diagnosed with really bad cancer. So they ended up coming back to be here her last 9 to 12 months, I think. Yeah. And so they were here. I drove over here, stayed with them, did the real estate classes for 2 weeks. That was my first time being in Boise, and I already planned to live here and planned to do real estate. So
And you never had done real estate in Seattle?
I didn't do real estate in Seattle until after I got my license here.
So you almost did exactly what somebody told me not to do, which was a guy who owned a brokerage in Kirkland. He owned ML Jackson Real Estate.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, if you're looking to relocate and you're looking to become self-employed or get into real estate, he's like, you can't do both at the same time. It's not a good idea.
Correct.
And yet Shaun De Yager.
And here we are. Here we're talking 9 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And I'll attribute it. It's the Lord's working and the Lord's provision and the Lord bringing clients my way, and the skills and things that I learned as a teacher and coach translated very, very well into real estate. You're teaching, you're coaching, you're supporting, you're encouraging, you're doing all the same things. It's just a little bit different medium, right? Like all the things that I loved about teaching and coaching, I can do with my clients, and which makes it super special. But yeah, no, coming here, it was, I just thought, man, I know all these people in Washington. Like, I'm likable, I'm friendly, fill in the blank, whatever. Like, I was known in the coaching world. We used to do all the coaches association meetings for the whole state at Seattle Christian. So like, I was just well connected, thinking like, oh, I'll get connected pretty quickly. That was a little bit of a rude awakening. So my wife actually took a full-time job as a nurse, because that was the goal. Is like, hey, if you can bring in money for us, I'll get this business built up. And
that was Courtney's profession before.
She was a nurse back home. Yep. Yeah. And when we left there, we were both kind of part-time. I was part-time teacher. She was a part-time nurse. I was also part-time sales. And we were just doing a bunch of part-time things. And like, we had 3 little kids, and who's going to I would watch the kids on this day. My dad would watch the kids. Her mom would watch the kid. Like, we just we made it work, and it was great. But that we needed to change. And so, we decided to move here. Her parents were like, well, you're not going to take the grandkids. And so they moved here. Made it easier that Courtney's sister Bethany was already here as well. So that meant half their kids would be here.
And Courtney being the oldest, there was no other grandkids yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So
makes sense.
So that's, then I started with Next Home, Treasure Valley from the very beginning. Never been another brokerage, still haven't. And super thankful that I met Heath Van Patten. Yeah, and just the encouragement and coaching he gave me. And I told him from my first meeting, I'm either going to co-own your business or be a broker or something. And now I've been a broker for him for 3 years. And just kind of cool to see how the Lord had it designed from the beginning. Like, it was stressful, not going to lie, super stressful, trying to get going. Got my license in Washington. So had some family deals, had some referral deals.
But ironically, you got your license in Washington after
moving here.
Correct.
And so I've been able to do a handful of deals here or there, over there, which is super fun to be able to fly back and forth. So I was super thankful for that opportunity. Can hopefully continue that for years to come. The majority of business is here. Yeah. I think local is important, but it's really awesome when people trust you and want to work with you in both places.
Yeah, and you're far more connected to the Seattle area still than I am. I mean, your parents are still there.
Yeah,
right?
my whole family is.
Yeah, you've got a place to stay when you're there. Your brother's there, your sister's there, or your entire family's there.
My entire family lives in
Yeah.
it's Lake Forest Park, Woodinville, Bothell.
Yeah. So your side of the family is all there. Most of Courtney's came here.
Yeah. So she still has one sister who just had a baby a few months ago. So that's the next grandchild. Besides ours, but so they still in the Shoreline area.
Yep.
Her brother's in Grandview, the Yakima, Central Washington area.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've been able to work with him, and
yep.
And then Bethany and Riley are here, her youngest sister.
Yeah.
We all live within 5 or 10 minutes, which is fun.
The way you speak about family too is super warm. Obviously, you guys are very, very close to Courtney's family that are here, but you've also maintained great relationship with folks, your side of the family back in the Seattle area as well. So I've always admired that. I don't think family comes as easy to everybody. I don't think family comes easy necessarily. Maybe I should back up. Family maybe never comes easily. It's probably requires a lot of intentionality and a lot of effort to make it what it is. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been fortunate. I'm close with each one of my siblings. I mean, it's helped. I've been able to mix work in with helping them purchase or sell homes. So then it just gives you more time to go back.
Yeah.
This year's we haven't been there since September, so it feels a little more distant, but we're still on the phone. So I have good relationship with my siblings. I have good relationship with Courtney's siblings. So it's really, I think we have an anomaly, honestly, to have two families that are close and we can be simultaneously close.
Yeah. No one's estranged. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Which also seems, I mean, it shouldn't seem weird, but that's awesome.
But and I feel like it's not very normal.
It's not.
And so I don't take it lightly. I'm super proud to say that we have that.
Yeah.
And super thankful. I mean, love my family. Absolutely love Courtney's family.
Yeah.
Like would choose to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Rather than just like a forced thing. Like, I think that becomes really, really awesome.
Yeah. It's great. Well, you're very good at your job. And I think you already said it, but we'll reiterate it again. I think the history in teaching and coaching translates really, really well to real estate. You and I have conversations nearly every day. My daughter jokes that when my phone rings, she's like, "Is it Shaun?" And she's usually right because oftentimes it is you. So we get the opportunity to be friends, and we've chosen to be friends and also business partners, which is super cool.
Yeah.
We've had the opportunity to help, more people than I can count buy homes, but we've also been business partners in developing property as well. And we've dabbled in that a little bit. We did really well, and then we gave it all back on, the second.
We broke even overall.
Yeah.
It was good.
Paid for an education.
I'd do it again.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah. We still have our business entity going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. So one of the things we talk about all the time is kind of the pull of, or the tension that we as self-employed people in sales, that's what we are, right? We are in sales where you're not selling sports uniforms any longer. You're selling homes, and I'm not necessarily selling homes, but I'm selling money. But the reality is there's this tension of wanting to be a provider for our families, right? And needing to be a provider, because that's a call that God's put on our lives, is to lead our families and to provide income for them and to provide housing for them and to provide opportunities for them.
Yeah.
But it's a tension that we're always battling. And one of the things that I admire so much about you, and you've always said this and you stay true to this, is putting relationships over transactions. Why don't you talk just a little bit about why that's important and how you do that?
Yeah. I think that I'll go backwards. As a basketball coach, it wasn't, I love basketball. March Madness is super fun to watch. Like,
yeah, we're right in the middle of it right now.
Which is it's super fun to engage with my kids, watching it, my wife, like all that stuff. So, but I wasn't I know a lot of coaches that were like, I'm a coach. And so if this job doesn't work out, I'm going to go get this job. And if that one doesn't work out, I'm going to go get that job.
Identity is coach.
Correct. And mine wasn't as much of, I got to go seek out that next school or the biggest school or I have aspirations to whatever. Mine was more like, I love doing that, but in an environment that I love to be in. So I knew Shoreline Christian working with my dad. I worked, he had the same assistant coach for decades. So I knew him. He was that guy was a teacher. My dad was a teacher, and that was a great environment to be around. Right. And then getting to Seattle Christian, while I was teaching these kids, I saw kids that I taught, and then I ended up coaching them when they were in elementary into high school. I've been, and so like when Seattle Christian, when the coaching at Seattle Christian ended for various reasons, most of which being I had 3 young kids and it was very hard on my wife. And some other things happened, but it wasn't like, ooh, I'm going to go to fill in the blank school. I'm going to go apply for this. That wasn't it. Seattle Christian was my home. And so I was going to coach at my home. Same thing coming here. Like I didn't jump into any coaching. It's more like, hey, I'm going to be in the environment that I want to be in. And then if coaching comes up, then awesome. This is great.
Yeah. And
I do have a bunch of experience, which is cool, but like, it's more about the relationship. So like, that's why I start with the sports analogies or sports talk, because like, I'm going to coach in the environment I want to be in and the kids that you're in relationship with. Right. And so then that translates into real estate where I want to work with people that I want to be around. So, like you've helped me with a bunch of loans, right? Well, both, secondary homes, primary homes, refis.
Yeah.
You've helped my family. Like there's something, I don't know, comforting. I don't know if that's the right word, but like trust.
Yeah.
So, and then also I know you're going to do the best for me and get me the best value and work super hard. Right. Like, and I know like on my last home that we purchased, we were on the phone, 10 times a day before locking a rate because we were hedging and leveraging and trying to figure out the best fit for me to own this home. And that's something I value, is that relationship side, and that you were willing to take 30 hours, who knows how long, right?
Sure.
In that month leading up to closing on a home, to look at every strategy, to look at every scenario. Do you put this % down or this % down? Here's what's going to be best. Here's your break even. And I trust you wholeheartedly, right? So the same thing in like real estate. I'm not looking for 100 transactions. Now, if they come, certainly I'm going to work them and I'm going to work hard and do all that. But it's more like, hey, Shaun, I have this family member or this friend or this acquaintance that I just gave your number. I hope that's okay. Absolutely it is. And now I've already talked you as Gavin. I mean, I've worked with your sister, and brother-in-law, and it was because you trusted me that you told them, which was huge. And you already had that kind of connection. And then the connection grew and the relationship grew. And we were able to find them a house that was a good fit for them at the time.
Yeah.
And, but it wasn't like, gosh, I got to get them in a house because I need this paycheck and I need, now sometimes it can feel like that in the back of my head, but that's never how I operate, never how I want to operate. And nor do I think people want that, right? Like if it's just a transaction, like you can use AI, you can use anybody on the street and just to get a transaction. But if I look at things like, hey, I want to treat these people the way that I would want to be treated and taken care of by Gavin Sessions with my loan. And so how do I do that? Well, you look at them and go, hey, I mean, we have mutual clients right now, right? Like they're looking to purchase a home. They said, hey, we're going to probably take our time. Great. Awesome. I think you should. This is a big investment and you need to find the right home for you. And we found a home this weekend. They're like, oh, we want to write an offer. Okay, cool. Like, let's look into all these things. And at the end of the day, like, it's not the right fit for us. Okay, great. Let's find you the right fit. And that, I think that's more important. Like, I know there are, and maybe not, I mean, I don't know how many people are like this, but there's some people out there like, we just got to get this. Let's crank it out. Cause then I got to get to the next one and the next one.
Yeah.
Like, and I look at it and I know people ask me like, what are your goals? how many transactions do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. How many transactions did you do last year? I don't know. I know that the Lord provided financially for my family, and I know I was able to help people. And I know I was able to develop relationships and friendships. And now I have more people that will want to go to lunch with me.
Yeah.
So that's become more important. Like coaching, right? Like you want to be in the environment. And we've talked before, but like we've all had a couple of those clients that you're like, I just don't want to be around those people, and you're still going to work hard for them, and you're going to get the job done, and I'm still going to operate the same, whether it's you or Amy or somebody that I like or don't like. I'm going to still operate at the same integrous level. But at the same time, like it's also more fun to be around people that you want to be friends with too.
It is. Yeah. I mean, if your phone's going to ring at 9:00 on a Friday night or 10:00 on a Saturday night or whatever it is, I want to be able to look at that and be like, okay, I really like that person. I'm excited to have this conversation, even though it might be an interruption to whatever I'm doing right now. And that's, I think, the beauty of being able to choose who you want your partners to be in this business, right? And then I think the other thing you said, without necessarily saying it, is the importance of a relationship referral, right? Which is so much stickier and so much warmer and so much more likely to be, for that person to understand the value that you provide, right? Because, hey, I got connected to you through this mutual person that we both know, like, and trust, right? And so there's lots of different ways to drive.
And respect.
Correct.
Yeah.
Lots of different ways to drive referrals in this business, right? I mean, lots of realtors will pay for Zillow leads and all the things. I always say those leads are way more difficult to get closed because they don't know you from Adam.
Yeah.
Right. And so if relationship is the thing that connects us together, that's also the thing that brings competitive advantage. It also brings stickiness, and it also brings enjoyment to the transaction versus, I mean, oftentimes I'm the recipient of a referral from somebody that I've got a relationship with, but then I don't necessarily know the client, right?
Yeah.
And so it really depends on how that referral comes into me on my likelihood of being able to convert it and get it closed, right? If it comes in from somebody that I've got a great relationship with and they refer me in that sort of way, then it probably has a much higher likelihood of closing, right? Yeah. Versus like, oh, hey, any other number of ways.
Well, and I mean, lenders, realtors, there's a ton of us in this area.
Tons.
And I think I do a pretty good job, but like at the end of the day, like there's got to be a trust. There's got to be a mutual respect, which becomes the important layer prior to even a house.
Yeah.
Because as you know, you're helping people take on a 30-year risk. And so being able, my goal and what I tell everybody is like, I want you to be as eyes wide open as possible. So that means connected with the lender, connected to know what your payments would be at different levels, different down payments, to know what the CC&Rs say of a neighborhood, to know if you can put up a covered patio or not. Oops. So some of us should probably ask the HOA before we do it. But also like, hey, you're going to have to replace this carpet, or your roof probably has a few years left, and look, this water heater's a 2013, and some of those kind of things, right? So that, hey, do you want to take on this risk, which is going to be awesome for your family, but also knowing you got $20,000 worth of stuff in the next 5 or 10 years that you're going to have to commit out of your own pocket to upgrade or update, whatever. Cool. Like, can you handle that? Great. And if not, like, hey, let's pivot. Let's find something that maybe fits better. And just helping people understand, like, we might have thought we were here, and then maybe here, and we end up over here. Same goal, getting into a house, owning an investment property, whatever it is, but just being able to, eyes wide open, looking at all options and all things to know what you're getting into as much as you possibly can. Now, we can't see the future. I can't see how much money I'm going to make next year, or if I'm going to be in the same job or whatever. I would like to think so. Just like all my clients, right? I'd like to think they're still in their job or still making that dollar amount.
Yep.
So you can do it the best you can with the information you provided. But So my goal is to provide as much information as possible.
Yeah. And I've seen you help clients walk away from transactions because it wasn't the right fit, right? Even though they maybe didn't realize it, you've coached them into making the right decision, right? Sometimes that's not the right fit. Oh, we're under contract. Crap, we got to cancel that one. Oh, and then this one's not the right fit. And same difference, right? And so, I think your money's where your mouth is. I've seen you do this. And so this is one of the reasons I think you're so great at what you do, is because you do put people first. And I think in this business, when we only get paid when we close, it's really easy to see those dollar signs and be like, oh, let's force this one through somehow. But that's maybe not in anyone's best interest.
No. And I mean, that's not how I operate, nor will I ever operate that way. Right. I would never want somebody to force me to buy a car or force me to buy an HVAC equipment, piece of HVAC equipment, whatever. I'm going to do the research. I'm going to know all the things so that I can make an informed decision to then do. Yeah. I'm not a lover of the door knocker and like, oh, but one more thing. Like, I want to know information. And so I want my clients to know all this information too. And I've had clients decide not to buy. Worked countless hours for them, studying, giving them information, looking at houses, driving around. I mean, but at the end of the day, like, that was what was best for their family at the time.
Yeah. But you get paid an hourly rate, don't you?
Nope.
Oh.
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right.
So then that's where me personally having a relationship with Jesus and just knowing that the Lord is my provider comes in. Now you've heard me complain about this from time to time as well. Like, there's still stressful times. There's still like, what's going on or why, or all those things. Like, I'm not free from any of that. However, I do know that the Lord's my provider. And so, like, I mean, I had a friend, we listed their house. We had multiple offers. We were under contract on land. They were going to build. And he came to my house one day and said, I can't do it. I said, yeah, that makes sense. I get it. Like, oof. Yeah, for all this effort, all this money, all this time, whatever. But like, and they're still good friends. Like, that was what was best for their family. And who am I to say like, oh no, just keep going. Just do it. Even if your gut says don't do it. Can't do it.
That's integrity and that's character. And I think that those are qualities in this business that people are attracted to, even if they don't know it. So the goal of today, right? The goal of this conversation, any of the other episodes that we ever do, is we want people to know, like, and trust you. And they're not going to do that in one podcast episode, right? They might think they will. That's kind of the facade of social media a little bit, is people start to follow us on social and they think they might know us. But the reality is until you actually have a conversation with somebody, until you get to meet them, you might know things about them, but you probably don't know that person, right?
Yeah.
And you probably don't know if you could like somebody until you've spent some time with them, right? And you certainly don't know if you can trust them quite yet. But our goal today is to make people intrigued and to make you to highlight your skill set and just the way that you love and care for people. I want to rewind just for a quick second. You specifically said that God told you to move here, which is, I don't know that a lot of us necessarily would recall those types of moments in our lives. Part of my story, I mean, I think God works to change my heart, to soften my heart, to make me excited for things. So it's maybe less, hey, you're going to go do this, and more, I'm going to shape your heart to want to do it, if that makes sense. And so, but you guys have willingly done very other challenging things outside of relocating to Boise. Another thing that I really admire about your family is the way you guys have opened your home to foster kids specifically, and then you've actually adopted those kids. So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, that's a massively honorable thing. That is a very, very unselfish thing. My wife and I have never done that before. We've always kind of chuckled and said, hey, if a child showed up on our doorstep, we'd certainly open our door. But we've not gone out and looked for that. And so that's one thing I would really admire about you and Courtney is you guys did. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we can rewind a lot of years. We lost our first child at birth. They think a cord accident. We're not quite sure.
And just for clarity, not a miscarriage. This was more of a stillbirth.
Correct.
Like full term.
Full term, I can't remember, 9-pound baby. Yeah. Full baby. Healthy otherwise, but I think the umbilical cord was like twice as long as it should be. And so they think it just got tangled and something happened. He was active. And so we lost Zachary. That was a life-altering event, to put it gently. And
2008, 9?
2009. Yeah.
9, yeah.
Yeah, May 17. And my wife, I mean, we both went on I guess more or less a separate journey on trying to heal.
I mean, you guys lost a child. That is
well, and I think a lot of people end up in divorce through those situations. And I'm thankful that the Lord has kept us together through that trauma. You know, we kind of looked to different things and how to heal. She started blogging and, like, beautiful writer. And like it reached people all across the world in her time of just processing. She processed through the written word. And I mean, to the point where, like, I can't remember, somebody in Texas found it. And then, there's a well in Africa somewhere that was dedicated to Zachary, to our son.
Wow.
Like, it just, what she did and how she processed and who she impacted through that, was unbelievable. I leaned into coaching, really just kind of like, hey, I'm just going to pour myself into this. And, yeah. So, but then the next thing that happened, there were some major earthquakes in Haiti shortly after Zachary died. I don't exactly remember a month. I think it was 2010. But Courtney was a nurse, so she ended up going over there for 2 weeks and serving as a nurse and helping. And what she saw in, like, orphanages, and she came back wanting to adopt kids from Haiti naturally. And I was the no. And, but also the country of Haiti was a no. You had to be, parents had to be 30 to even think about adopting. And we were both younger than 30. So anyways, she just had
didn't seem like an open door.
It was not at that time. And also, like, yeah, a lot of different reasons. But so then when we moved here, she kind of had said things to me over the years, and I just said, no.
And before we jump too far ahead, you guys moved here with 3 kiddos.
Yep.
Very similar ages to ours.
Yeah, like they were 2, 4, 6, I believe, when we moved here.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Or 3, 5, 7, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Yeah, so 3 biological kids then. Yeah. And so she had said, like, hey, I want to foster. And I'm like, I cannot lose another child. I can't do it. I don't think my person can do that. And so I said no. Got involved through another friend, got me involved in a nonprofit that was about foster families, kinship situations. And so I started hearing the things, seeing the things, and going, oh, man. And then that's when the Lord was kind of softening my heart to it. And one night, I remember probably tearfully, honestly, I was up late. My wife was sleeping, and I just thought, like, I felt like the Lord saying, now's the time. Like, I don't want to. And so I signed us up for the foster care classes. This is right around 2020. So we did the online classes with COVID, and I think it took about a year to officially become licensed because everything was backlogged and different things and whatever craziness in the health and welfare department.
And your kiddos at the time would have been 10, 8, and 6 roughly in 2020. I'm doing the math, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Roughly. Yeah. So we actually said we're only going to take one kid at a time, and we were really adamant about birth order. Wanted them to be younger than our kids. We didn't want to bring up someone older in and then kind of, I don't know. So we didn't want to do that. That didn't feel right for our family. And we were like, we're going to do one at a time. So one baby would be awesome. That would be super cute, super fun. we're willing to take the sleepless nights. So we said no to some sibling sets, and then we got a call from, hey, we have this 4-day-old baby, and we were up in Donnelly vacationing with Courtney's family.
It's like July.
We were supposed to go on your boat.
Yep. Would have been 2021.
Yeah. So I remember calling, hey, Gavin, can't go out today on the boat. We're driving back to Cuna to pick up a baby. And you were like, oh, that's awesome. Great. Like, but I remember specifically we were going to go out on your boat that day.
Yep.
And the Lord had other plans. And so we drove to Cuna. There was another foster family that had taken her in for a day. And then we picked her up, brought her back to Donnelly to hang out with Courtney's family. We had 3 more days left of our vacation, and, instantly fell in love with this baby.
And she's going to be 5 this coming July?
Yeah, July, yeah.
Holy smokes, that went fast.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we were finishing up our vacation and get a call. Hey, by the way, she has 2 older sisters that are 3 and 5. Lord.
So did you guys pick her up and come back to Donnelly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
We drove. Keep the good times rolling.
Oh my, yeah, it was a thing. And then you go, all of a sudden you went from like nothing to vacationing. No, I mean, we had kids.
To a newborn.
To a newborn. And it was just like, okay. And then 3 days later, oh, we have a 3 and 5-year-old sister. They're her sisters. Holy cow. Okay. And I remember feeling the Lord saying, yeah, you have to. And I'm like, you suckered me into this. Like, you brought this newborn baby.
We said 1.
Yeah, we said 1. You agreed and gave us 1. And then, but I do remember thinking, boy, I think the Lord's asking us to adopt these girls. And that was day 1. We hadn't even met them. And my wife thought differently. She's like, no, we're just foster parents. And which, I mean, reunification is the goal in our state and should be in the right circumstances. So, So after our vacation, we went and picked up 2 more girls and ended up fostering them until about 2 years ago when we adopted them. So now we have 6. So it's been a journey. I wish I could say it's the easiest thing we've ever done, and it's certainly not. In fact, it's if you can be 2 people at once, you could be this is the hardest thing I've ever done, and this is the greatest miracle. This is horrible, and this is rewarding, and you just live in both of those things, but knowing what you're doing for kids, and boy, this has made everything a lot more challenging and difficult, and vehicles and time and all those things. So yeah, I mean, to your statement about like it wasn't for you, I didn't think it was for us.
Right.
And the Lord had other ideas. And that's why, I mean, he didn't sucker us, obviously, but it felt a little bit like, hey, here's this.
You got bait and switched.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think but ultimately it was for the Lord's glory and for these kids' benefit. And it's cool to see the growth. There's still trials. There's still hard days and minutes and hours and learning disabilities with some of them or one of them, and challenging behaviors and this and that. But then there's the love and there's the verbalization of, wow, the Lord picked a really great family for me. That was by one of them the other day. So you can't. Who am I to question?
Yeah,
and I do. We have times we question and times we praise the Lord that we could be this little part for him.
Yep. So what started off with losing Zachary led to 3 biological kids.
Yep.
Led to, yes, we'll foster this newborn baby. Led to, I guess we'll take her 2 older sisters as well. And then led to an adoption of all 3 of those girls. And now you guys have 6.
Correct.
Which is, I'm sure, exactly what you planned when you...
That was never, never on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool, though. If we look backwards, I think that's always the most appropriate thing to do. You didn't plan to live in Boise. God opened that door and softened your heart and said, yep. Right. And didn't ever probably plan to be in real estate, but that ended up being something that was a really great transition for you coming out of teaching and coaching and being able to prioritize relationship and just care for people well.
Yeah, for sure.
And to make sure that you've got their best interest in mind. and then didn't plan on fostering kids or adopting kids, and right, or all of the complications that have come from that, right? Bigger houses, bigger vehicles, and yet God has continued to provide and continued to open doors. And so I think these conversations are always so helpful to have, because we get in our own heads in our own way. I think we often just forget what a good provider God is. And when he invites us into something that might sound impossible or hard, it's never to try to tackle it alone. It's always, he's always got a plan to give provision and to give comfort, grace all the way through it. So,
yeah. And I mean, I think back to just when I first moved here before having 6 kids. I mean, look, this story about meeting you and me feeling like, oh, this isn't going to be good. Like, what do I have in common with a Microsoft guy? And how stupid was my mentality right there? And then, like, I remember Courtney's like, we have to sign up for a small group at church. And I'm like, this is going to be a disaster. Like, and then we leave the first week or two, and I'm like, I'll never be friends with these guys. And I've told them since. And we're really close now. Like, almost all of them that were in our original small group. Yeah. We still are a part of each other's lives and have our kids grown up together. They've walked with us, beside us, encouraged us, supported us in this part of the adventure and in helping us move. And so those are the same people that I said, I'll never be friends with that guy or that guy. And here we are. Almost a decade later, and I was wrong. Oh, I'll never be friends with Gavin. Well, boy, was I wrong. I'll never foster. I'll never. And it's like, the Lord's like, hey, I got you. Yep. And so, I guess my encouragement to myself and to anybody else is like, instead of our hard and fast and firm ideas about what we want life to look like, we gotta hold it loosely, because ultimately the Lord has everything in his control. Yep. And his plans are certainly better than mine.
Amen to that. Well, let's leave it right there. There's obviously a lot more story to be told, but this was never meant to be totally exhaustive. And the goal from this, again, is that people would be interested to get to know you and would want to have a conversation with you. And shoot, they can get more of your story then, right? Yeah. So what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you?
I mean, my cell phone, email, I don't know.
Yeah.
Website.
So we'll put your cell phone right on the screen here.
Oh, there you go.
And then
right here.
Yep. And then we'll put your email address as well as your Nexum website.
We have a website, deyagerrealestate.com, DEYAGER.
Cool. And we'll stick your phone number right on there as well. But you're a guy who loves to get together with people and not have coffee necessarily, but you're willing to go to coffee.
No, I'll take you out to lunch or
go to lunch, go to Topgolf.
Yeah. Topgolf anytime.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're honored that you shared some of your story with us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Love the credit to the Lord for all of it, the good and the hard. And you're a great friend. Appreciate you giving us your time today, and we'll leave it there.
Sounds good. Thanks.